Money and Me on Your Money, only on Money FM 89.3.
Welcome to Money and Me. I'm Michelle Martin. Across the globe, there's been much debate about the shift in the design of offices, especially what that could look like in a post-COVID world. According to our next guest, the rise of internationally embraced concepts like co-working, activity-based working, and open plan offices, and the use of data has created to what's being referred to in some circles as workspaces Uber moment. So, how can we bridge the gap between humans, the expectations of us at work, technology, workplace experience, convenience, and what's interpreted as employee-centric requirements? And to what extent can office design keep workers from wanting to just leave their jobs, up and leave? Today, we speak to Shobhit Choubey, Head of Experience Consulting Asia Pacific CBRE. Shobhit, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Michelle. It's so nice to be in the show. Thank you so much for having me.
Full disclosure, Shobit was on a panel that I had the pleasure of moderating, and I was absolutely taken away by the way he expressed some concepts and the work that he's been doing in this space. So I had to have him on the show. Shobit, thanks for saying yes. What are some of the most significant ways, in your opinion, that the pandemic has brought changes to the way we work?
That's a great question, Michelle, and something that I have been passionate about for the last 16, 17 years. Actually, pandemic has changed, many things about our workplace and the way we look at work. Before pandemic, the natural tendency for most knowledge workers and workers in general in Singapore and across the globe was to be in the office, have, your team sit alongside you to create value for the companies that you belong to. But the pandemic actually gave an interesting opportunity for all organizations, especially employees, to really dabble into flexibility a lot more. Although it was forced, but a lot of people really liked the fact that they were able to balance work and life according to their choices. So location no longer became an important parameter. It still is important, but the only parameter that drove productivity in organizations, and that has compelled office designers, companies who look after workplaces and experience in general, to look at workplace in a very different light. And in a nutshell, if I say that now workplace has become a tool to attract and retain talent, but more importantly, a workplace and its purpose has changed dramatically. So if I wake up in the morning, I need to decide whether I go to work or I work from home. I don't want to be on Zoom or Teams calls throughout the day when I'm in the workplace. Workplace is an engine for collaboration and people to come together. And that has been the most sort of dramatic change in the way we look at work and workplace in general.
So there was a lot of debate during COVID. I remember people thinking, will we still need office space at all? From what you're seeing, will hybrid work have to become a permanent part of work culture? And how is that impacting workspace presently?
Actually, I think offices are here to stay. I think we still, as human beings, crave human connection. We love the fact that when we go to the office, we spend time with our colleagues, and the subtle sort of messages that we get around the being around people is something that really helps people to remain motivated. But the glaring trend that we've also seen is that in Singapore, especially, the sweet spot with many knowledge workers is around 3.5 days in the workplace. So Mondays and Fridays, people may not be in the office, but Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, people tend to be in the office. And obviously, that is very personal to everybody, and that's very different for different businesses and different teams. But
Mm,
hybrid workplace is definitely here to stay.
mhm.
People are longing to be back in the office, but organizations that have mandated that everybody who has to be back 5 days a week, I don't think that has gone down very well with the employees. Employees now
Mm.
want choice more than ever before.
Yep.
But that's primarily true for knowledge working economies. I'm not talking about industrial and medical and healthcare stuff. Obviously, they have to be back in the workplace as before.
Yeah, we need choice. We want to be able to choose. In fact, is hyper-personalization at all something that office space creators are looking at?
Yes, especially landlords, now they are in a conundrum, so to speak, that how do we make sure that the office building remains relevant? And we're living in the age, and you use very good term that I use a lot with the work that we do is hyper personalization. So I imagine our life is more and more becoming like an app. You pick and choose the experiences what you want. So you have WhatsApp that helps you communicate with colleagues and friends. You have food apps that help you to order what you want. Similarly, office experience, which is very static because it's physical in nature, is could be very good for somebody but could not be very good or appropriate for others. So hyper personalization in the workplace is a trend that we are seeing post pandemic, where landlords and organizations are designing experiences and spaces that allow employees to pick and choose, first of all, when and how they would want to work, and also what services that they want and amenities that they would want to avail in the workplace. And that
Wow.
is quite a fantastic trend, and that has been aided because of technology. Now a lot of workplace and building apps have surfaced, and they offer a lot of choices at the palm of your hand, so to
Can you
speak.
tell us a little bit about some of these apps that are being created? And what exactly we mean by hyper personalization of experience? I mean, some office owners or bosses may think you come to the office and you work. That's your experience. If you're having any other sort of experience, you're not working. So, what do we mean by a variety of experiences at work and how offices are customizing to those different needs?
Yes. So basically, hyper personalization of the office means that you can pick and choose which spaces that you would want to work for that particular day. For example, if on Mondays I have a lot of meetings, and I want to be assured that when I go to the office, then I can book a space, and that has always been the norm. But even who I work with on that particular day, so I technology has now enabled and apps have enabled that you can see or at least know who is going to be in the office. So you can pick and choose the teams and the location in the office based on the community that is going to be there on that particular day. Then, similarly, the technology has also allowed people to pick and choose which services and amenities they would want to use in that particular office. So, for example, you may go to the standard cafe that is available in your building or in your workplace, but now because when we were working from home in the pandemic, we were sort of also having a lot of choice working and eating at home, but also you were ordering through various apps. So now employees do expect the same experience when they go to the office. So the apps that are now designed to make sure that you can pick and choose the kind of cuisine and the food that you would want. Secondly, and at a broader context, we see that people are now also deciding which location they would want to work at. So a
Mm.
lot of
Mhm.
co-working firms have started to do really well because organizations have partnered with co-working firms to allow flexible spaces in a part of their portfolio. So you can choose to work in your headquarter on certain days, but if you don't want to travel to your own office, then you can actually
Mm.
go to the nearest co-working space, be productive for 4 to 5 hours, and then go back home. So these are some of the choices which are purely driven through technology and flexibility in the portfolio, and that is really driving a lot of satisfaction when it comes to employees in this case.
That's really interesting. So, in essence, is the very definition of what is considered grade A office space changing in any way? I mean, are there different cultural expectations, perhaps, of what grade A space should constitute?
Yes, Singapore has always been fairly advanced in terms of offering, the latest amenities and technologies in grade A offices. But the recent trends that we have observed is that there is a greater spend towards technology and making the building experience come to you than just waiting for the employees and tenants to show up in the building and experience the services. By that what I mean is that now some landlords in Singapore and across the region are offering health and well-being services through their apps. So employees who are a part of that building ecosystem or building tenancy can experience a lot more than just the space that they access.
Mm.
So health and well-being services are being offered by landlords. Secondly, flexible spaces. So organizations are deciding that if they have a certain floor and they are expanding for for example 3 to 4 months, they may not
Mhm.
need like a really long lease. They may end up taking some flexible seats in the co-working space in the building. So that is another key feature of grade A building, to have flexible spaces either in the building or around that. So that definitely is a trend. And third thing that we have seen quite glaringly coming out post pandemic is that landlords, especially in grade A buildings, are really focusing on hospitality services and focusing on experience, because they want employees to want to be back in the buildings. So
Mm.
they are investing in talent that is coming from hospitality, tourism, marketing, rather than just this traditional real estate careers, so that they can bring the element of hospitality and hotelification of buildings into their operations. And that also is a huge trend in Singapore and in the region.
What's being invested in terms of the thinking and the design to keep workers happy and to keep them from leaving?
Yeah, actually, that's a question that is very good. One of the things that I'm sure that we all have read a lot, and also I've experienced in my community, is that the pandemic has also had a bit of sort of health and mental well-being impact on people for a variety of reasons. People were worried about their jobs, people were craving the human connection, and people were also not sure the how to make the best out of the situation. So companies are investing more and more on health and well-being advisory and services that allows people to sort of, first of all, be very focused, but also be happy in the workplace, to avoid a large pool of people leaving the organization. Secondly, there is a greater investment towards technology to offer choice, as you said, to employees, to how and when they want to work and the service that they want to avail. And then the third thing that I've seen is that there is a greater tolerance to flexibility. So people are now allowed to choose how they want to go about their day. And if that choice is no longer in existence, then nowadays in Singapore, people can choose to change employment, because if they are not being given the flexibility to work in the office 2 or 3 days a week, and for the rest of the week they can work from home. So this is where organizations are investing money in, to attract and retain talent. And especially I'm quite concerned about the health and mental well-being of employees. I think it's definitely improving, but that's where a lot of organizations are spending time and resources to ensure that they support their employees in the best possible way.
Shobit, tell us, what are you seeing in terms of the possibilities of work and the intersection of work and the metaverse?
Oh, that is such an interesting topic, and actually, it invokes a lot of debate online on the social media and generally when we talk to people. Metaverse is a complicated topic that is evolving a lot as we speak. So imagine, as that as if we were in the early '90s when the internet was just being born. So metaverse, I believe, is in that sort of space right now. So there is a lot of noise, but there is also a lot of value to be created from this. Now, we talked about like the need for choice for employees and how technology can basically facilitate that going forward.
Right.
Now, the new generation, I'm talking about the generation Z, and then really young folks who are about to enter colleges and then eventually the workforce, are a lot more comfortable in environments that are gaming like. So they are very used to immersive experiences through gaming, or through the way they interact and collaborate with their friends and family. So that has triggered a newfound demand in the metaverse, to create tools that will allow people to work as well in the virtual environment. So Facebook, or Meta, as now they call themselves, have invested heavily in creating platforms that allow workers to come together in the metaverse. Now, again, it does invoke debate, and it's purely based on personal preferences whether that's something you would want to indulge in. But certainly they are catering to the young audience who's used to this. So metaverse yeah, companies such as Meta or Facebook or
Mhm.
HTC or other such companies have started to explore investing in tools that allow people to collaborate in an environment when they are not going to be in the office. Can they use the metaverse to still have office like experience, but while they are working at home? This also puts up really interesting investing opportunities. So you may have heard that in the last year, the investments into virtual lands in the metaverse have grown by about 700 odd percent. And by some estimates, this itself is going to be a $1 trillion business. Again, I don't, I'm not sure whether I am the expert in the value of these investments, but certainly the numbers show that there is a lot of interest both by the landlords as well as the occupier, the enterprise, companies, to explore how this would help them, whether there is investing opportunities for retail as well as enterprise companies, and more importantly, how can this shape up the future of how we work and how
Mm.
we transact in going forward.
How can virtual space create actual value for occupiers or for developers?
So the virtual space again needs to develop a lot to be able to really be a very viable alternate to the physical work environment. I don't think we will ever have, this is just my view, that we will ever have a situation where the physical workplace completely goes away. But now the teams that do end up working together are very global, so, or
Hmm.
regional. So you have, for example, 20-25 people coming together from anywhere in the world, to
Yep.
collaborate and add value and bring value to the organization. And that's where the metaverse can create tools for, or companies investing or operating in the metaverse can create tools for for employees and teams to feel as if they are together, even while they are away from each other, for thousands of miles away from each other.
Interesting.
And one of the biggest challenges that we felt during the pandemic is that you can't bump into somebody and have a conversation. And a lot of interesting innovation was created because of that. And metaverse will allow some of these opportunities to happen virtually, which means that companies would be able to save proportionally some money in real estate investments. But also from a landlord perspective, they are looking at this as an opportunity to diversify what they offer their tenants. So not only offer the physical space, but also virtual real estate. Again, this is a very controversial, very debatable topic. But what I'm excited about is that this is opening up new possibilities for both employees and organizations, as well as landlords and companies who are open about it and
Hmm.
invest in research in this
Hmm.
will perhaps come out top in the near to medium future.
Fascinating. Tell us, what are companies like yours investing in to position for the future of work?
So we are actually heavily, focused towards creating, services that amounts to a wide variety of different clients. So what we see is that in the long run, technology will play a part in supporting both employees and landlords in the way they offer, services, as well as employees how they use the workplace. So first of all, we are investing quite heavily in different types of technologies, and we have our own employee experience app. We have our own investments towards co-working spaces that allows us to offer a wide spectrum of services that our clients can then tap into when they need that support. Secondly, that we're actually also making a paradigm shift in how we look at real estate in general.
Mm.
And although we know that the traditional sort of real estate services will remain relevant in the long run, but the nature of those services and the talent that we bring to offer those services is changing dramatically. I'll give you a simple example.
Okay.
you know facilities management, for example, which is one of our part of our businesses. Usually, you would have facilities management. These are people who look after your workplaces and make sure that it's clean and safe and secure. Now, because of a greater focus towards experience in hospitality, we are bringing talent from hotels and hospitality industry to be a lot more customer centric in the way they approach the service delivery model. So this is one sort of minimum example, small example of how we are changing how we service our clients and investing in talent in a different way. And obviously technology and different companies we are also investing in, so that we can offer a wide spectrum of services to offer choices for our clients.
Well, really fascinating. Thank you so much for sharing with us, your experiences and insights into this whole area of the office of the future. Shobhit Choubey is Head of Experience Consulting, Asia Pacific CBRE. Thank you, Shobhit.
Thank you so much, Michelle, and have a great day.
Money FM 89.3.